Have you noticed how most conversations begin with a tired little ritual? Hi, how are you? And the answer is almost always the same, fine. But rarely is anyone fine, and rarely does anyone care to know. It's a dance of masks, a silent agreement to stay on the surface. But what if you could break that cycle? What if a few simple words could melt away the pretense and create a connection so real, so deep, others cling to your presence? Stick around, because the last part might just change how you see every interaction, starting right now, especially you. Instead of that automatic noise, imagine stepping into a conversation with true presence. Not with clever tricks or manipulative lines, but with a few words that genuinely dissolve the mask, inviting the other person to be truly real. Think about the peculiar magic that happens when you feel understood. Someone looks at you, listens not in haste, but with patience, and then softly says, "I understand you." Suddenly, something deep inside relaxes. You are no longer standing outside the gates, knocking and hoping to be let in. You are welcomed inside. Most of us live surrounded by people, yet we still feel profoundly alone because no one has paused long enough to truly say those words. The truth is, being understood is often rarer than love itself. It's that quiet acknowledgement that your inner world is valid, that you are not absurd for feeling what you feel. What happens when you offer this gift of understanding to another? You become unforgettable. You've touched something deeper than just appearance, deeper than surface charm. You've reached their very core. When you sincerely say, "I understand," the other person's inner chaos subsides. Their storm begins to calm. In that quiet relief, they find peace. And relief, my friends, is incredibly magnetic. People don't cling to those who make them anxious. They cling to those who ease their restlessness. You see, true attraction isn't about impressing others with your brilliance. It's about becoming the kind of presence where others feel they can finally, truly rest. But this kind of understanding demands a little humility. You simply cannot understand if you're too busy internally preparing your next clever reply, or if you're determined to be the smartest person in the room. To truly understand is to set aside your ego for a moment, to silently say, "Here is a fellow traveler walking a road I may not fully know, but I can see the shape of it." When people sense that in you, they no longer resist. They lean closer, because they no longer have to fight to exist in your presence. You have created room for them. Now picture yourself speaking with someone, and you simply tell them, "That makes sense." It's such a small phrase, almost trivial, yet its power is immense, because what you are truly conveying is, "I have listened. I have taken in your thought, your feeling, and it has found a place in me. It has landed." Most people never receive this precious gift. They speak, and their words often disappear into a void. But when someone hears that they make sense, their heart eases. They feel accompanied, no longer wandering alone. Without even realizing it, they grow attached to the one who truly mirrors their experience. This isn't about empty agreement. To tell someone that makes sense doesn't mean you have to think exactly the same way. It means you recognize the path they took, the logic or emotion behind their words. That recognition in itself is enough. The Stoics called this tolerance, to let another hold their view without needing to crush it. People feel incredibly safe in the company of tolerance. They open themselves further because they sense you are not a threat. And the more they open, the more they trust. The more they trust, the more they desire to remain near you. This is the quiet, powerful rhythm of genuine connection. Be mindful though, if you toss out phrases like "that makes sense" carelessly, they become utterly meaningless. If you say it without truly listening, it dies on your lips. Presence is what gives it weight. You must genuinely be there, hearing not only the words but also the silent spaces between them. When you feel the truth of what another has said, then you can honestly say, "That makes sense to me because I can see how you reached it." At that moment, you are no longer two isolated beings. You are sharing a reality. Shared reality is closeness, and closeness, when unforced, is what draws hearts together. There's another phrase that glows with immense power. "You are right." Such a simple thing, yet it satisfies a deep longing we all carry, even the proudest among us. To be told you are right is to feel profoundly seen. Of course, this cannot be overused. Otherwise, it devolves into flattery, and flattery is always counterfeit. But when spoken with genuine sincerity, it disarms. Imagine a quarrel, with tempers rising, each person determined to win. Then suddenly, one voice genuinely says, "You're right about that." Instantly, the tension dissolves. The desperate need to defend collapses because what people truly seek in an argument is not victory, but validation. And to give that validation freely is a sign of immense strength, not weakness. A truly great mind loves truth, no matter where it appears. So, if another person has spoken truth, even in the smallest measure, to admit it shows your maturity. It shows you are not a slave to pride. Paradoxically, those who yield attract far more respect than those who must always win. For the insecure must guard every inch of ground, while the wise know exactly when to bow. And when you bow, the other person feels safe. And when they feel safe, they begin to trust, to soften, and to wish to remain with you. Consider how profoundly different such moments feel compared to ordinary conversation. Most of the time, words are used as weapons, as tools for domination. But when you say, "You're right," sincerely, you lay down the sword. You show that your primary concern isn't for your ego, but for truth itself. And people find that utterly irresistible because it is so incredibly rare. They meet in you not a rival, but a companion, not a competitor, but a true ally. And what truly is more attractive than someone who allows you to rest, who allows you to simply be, who acknowledges your value without needing to diminish their own? There is yet another word, perhaps the simplest of all, and yet often the most neglected. Listen. Strange, isn't it, that such a small act can feel rarer than pure gold? We live in a world where nearly everyone is speaking, but hardly anyone is genuinely listening. To listen is not simply to wait impatiently for your turn to reply. It is not to nod politely while secretly preparing your next brilliant line. To listen is to humbly enter another's world without any urge to rearrange it or correct it. When you say, "I'm listening," and you truly deeply mean it, you are giving a gift that almost no one ever receives. And how incredibly magnetic that gift is, because when someone feels truly listened to, they feel real. They feel truly alive, as though their very presence matters. You have given them space to unfold without interruption, without judgment. In that moment, you are not trying to control them or correct them or outshine them. You are simply being with them. And this, you see, is love in its purest form. Not necessarily romantic love, but the fundamental love that recognizes another's humanity. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, so that we might listen more than we speak. Yet notice how we live now, in constant noise, in endless chatter. To be the one who listens, to be the one who pauses and genuinely attends, is to stand out like cool water in a parched desert. People return to you not because you dazzled them with your brilliance, but because you gave them the rare and cherished experience of simply being heard. And when you truly think about it, isn't that what we all crave? Simply to be allowed to exist, unchallenged, in another's gaze. The profound secret of all these words, understand, make sense, you are right, listen, is not that they are merely techniques or clever tricks. The moment you treat them as such, they instantly lose all their power. Their true magic lies in sincere embodiment. When you embody these qualities, you are no longer performing, you are allowing. And in that allowing, others blossom, just like a flower. You cannot pull its petals open to make it bloom faster. You give it water, light, good soil, and above all, patience. Then one morning, without effort, it simply opens. In the same way, when you genuinely offer understanding, acknowledgement, validation, and attentive listening, people open of their own accord. You attract the most when you cease trying so hard to attract. The more you chase, the more people feel smothered. The more you perform, the more they sense the strain, the inauthenticity. But when you stop chasing, when you stop performing, and instead simply allow others to truly rest in your presence, they are drawn to you like moths to a flame, not because you tried to be magnetic, but because you became a safe, expansive space in which they felt genuinely alive. Attraction is not something you actively do, it is something that happens naturally when you forget yourself and genuinely meet another. Every single time you begin a conversation, you are at a fork in the road. Down one path lies the familiar ritual. Hi, how are you? The answer is always predictable, and the exchange dies right there. Down the other path lies presence, a chance to begin, not with tired habit, but with real awareness. And in that very beginning, you set the tone for everything that follows. If you enter with deep sincerity, if you open the door with one of these powerful words, the whole encounter unfolds differently in surprising ways. You may very well find that what began as a simple greeting transforms into something unforgettable, perhaps even truly life-changing. But let us not be too solemn about all of this. There is immense playfulness in these interactions. Words are not heavy chains, they are delightful games, and when you treat them lightly, with humor, with genuine curiosity, they work their magic best. To understand, to truly make sense, to validate, to listen. These are not burdensome duties. They are vibrant invitations to dance. They are ways of saying, here we are, two ripples on the same vast ocean, meeting for a precious moment before we flow apart again. And in that meeting, why not share something real, something truly alive? After all, the ultimate purpose of human communication is not to impress, but to touch. And so, attraction is not truly built on what you say, but on what the other person feels in your presence. Do they feel at ease? Do they feel truly valued? Do they feel utterly seen? These are the real, profound measures of connection. And notice this profound truth. You don't need cleverness for any of this. You don't need to be witty, nor handsome, nor powerful. You need only to be truly awake in the moment, to meet the other person exactly as they are, without that constant, insidious urge to manipulate. Strangely enough, when you stop trying so hard to win people over, they come closer to you, because in you, they sense freedom. And that freedom, my friends, is beautifully contagious. The one who truly listens reminds others how to breathe. The one who truly understands reminds others that they absolutely belong. That dull little ritual, hi, how are you? It's like knocking on a door that somehow never truly opens, and yet most conversations still begin this way, because we are all so afraid to break the script. But you, especially you, need not repeat the old chant. You may instead try something wonderfully fresh, something that startles the other person into genuine wakefulness, a simple phrase that breaks the mask and invites honesty. And here is just such a phrase. Tell me something good. So simple, yet so profoundly surprising. It immediately jars the mind out of autopilot. It demands real thought, not tired routine. Imagine beginning your next interaction like this. Instead of the dull back and forth, you simply ask, tell me something good. At once the other person pauses. They must stop, reflect, and genuinely reach for something real inside themselves. Perhaps they smile, recalling a small joy. Perhaps they share something deeply meaningful. But whatever it is, the conversation has already leapt far beyond the ordinary. It is no longer a lifeless script. It is vibrant, alive, and in that aliveness, you immediately stand apart. You are no longer just another polite stranger lost in the blur of routine. You have awakened the other person, and in awakening them, you have awakened yourself as well. You see, this is the very essence of presence, to be truly awake in your meetings with others, rather than sleepwalking through empty phrases and automatic exchanges. Most people walk about half asleep, bound by endless rituals and cliches. But if you dare to be awake, if you dare to say something fresh, something authentic, you bring the entire conversation into vivid color. And this, precisely this, is what makes you utterly unforgettable. Attraction, deep connection, and true love. They all arise when two people are willing to step out of the automatic and into the real. And sometimes the doorway into that reality is as small and simple as a single word, a humble phrase spoken sincerely, with nothing behind it but pure, unadulterated presence. So remember these words not as weapons, not as manipulative tools, but as profound invitations. When you live this way, you do not need strategies for attraction. You have inherently become attractive simply by being real. And when you are truly real, others feel safe enough to be real with you too. Whether you are with a cherished friend, a beloved partner, or a brand new stranger, your presence inherently becomes a rare gift, and those who receive it will instinctively wish to linger, for they will deeply remember how it felt to be with you, light, easy, authentically yourself. That, more than anything else, is the deepest form of attraction. Attraction is not a performance you put on, it is a profound recognition. And recognition, my friends, is love in its purest, most human form.